Philip Green. For years, that name was basically synonymous with British retail. He was this larger-than-life tycoon who ruled the high street. But today? Well, his empire is gone. So let's get into the incredible story of how a retail king ended up losing his crown.
To really get your head around the scale of this, you've just got to look at the before and after. On one hand, you have the retail king at his absolute peak. We're talking owner of Topshop, one of the richest men in the UK, taking home billion-pound payouts. And then you have the ruin. The empire, just gone. The brands sold off for parts. And his entire legacy? Well, that's completely in question.
It's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth did it all go so wrong and so incredibly fast?
Well, to find the answer, we have to rewind. We've got to go back to the beginning to really understand the formula that made him so unbelievably successful in the first place.
See, before all the super yachts and the celebrity pals, Green was this incredibly shrewd operator. He actually built his reputation by zigging when everyone else zagged. He'd look at these struggling businesses that everyone had written off, and he'd see pure, untapped potential.
And his formula? Oh, it was brutally simple, but wow, was it effective. Just 4 steps. First, buy a company that's on its knees. Second, slash costs to the absolute bone. Third, crank up the profit margins. And fourth, flip it for a quick and usually very handsome profit. He was a master of the game.
And that exact formula is what propelled him toward his biggest prize yet. This was the move that would officially cement his status as the king of the high street.
So back in 2000, he makes the deal that would define his entire career. He buys the Arcadia Group, which was this whole collection of some of the most famous names in British fashion. And this wasn't just another deal for him. Oh no, this was his ticket to the big leagues.
And let me tell you, Arcadia came with some serious crown jewels. You had brands like Topman and Miss Selfridge, which were huge. But the real prize, the brand that would become the absolute engine of his empire, was Topshop. Under his command, Topshop didn't just grow, it absolutely exploded. It became a cultural phenomenon, a genuine global fashion powerhouse. You had celebrities wearing it, fashion magazines writing about it, and shoppers all over the world just couldn't get enough. It was the place to be.
The profits got so huge that at one point, a dividend of over £1 billion, that's billion with a B, was paid out, with most of it going straight to his family. This was the absolute peak, a massive, massive amount of cash taken right out of the business.
But here's the thing. While the party was in full swing on the inside of the empire, the world outside was changing. And this is where the first cracks started to appear in the foundation.
You see, behind all the glitz and the glamour, a full-blown revolution was happening in retail. The internet was completely changing how we all shop. And these new, super-fast competitors were jumping into the game.
And here is the absolute key to the whole story. While rivals like ASOS and Zara were going all in on their websites and mastering fast fashion, Arcadia, well, it was kind of stuck in the past. It was just way too slow to evolve, and the stores started to feel tired, a little bit outdated.
And the results of that stagnation? Well, they were pretty much inevitable, weren't they? The stores lost their sparkle, fewer people were coming in, sales started to slide, and for the very first time, the business began to seriously struggle.
This slow decline really set the stage for the final act, where all these internal pressures and public controversies would come together and just bring the whole thing crashing down.
On top of the falling sales, this huge internal problem blew up, the pension deficit. Turns out the company owed hundreds of millions of pounds to its own employees' retirement funds. That created this immense financial and, frankly, political pressure. And at the very same time, the story in the news started to sour big time. Green's leadership style went under the microscope. People started asking really tough questions, like where did all that money go, and who's responsible for this mess?
And then, the inevitable finally happened. The weight of it all was just too much. The empire collapsed. Arcadia went into administration, and its crown jewel, Topshop, once a global icon, was sold off for just a fraction of what it was once worth. The reign was officially over.
So after all that, after this spectacular rise and this even more spectacular fall, what's the final lesson we can pull from all this?
Well, it really comes down to a powerful, kind of tragic irony. His greatest strength, being able to move fast, buy a company, and flip it for profit, that became his fatal flaw. He was a master at taking value out, but he failed to reinvest and adapt when the entire world was changing around him.
It all just boils down to one single powerful truth that sums up this entire saga, really. In business, and maybe in life too, if you don't evolve, you get replaced. It's the brutal, unchanging law of the marketplace.
You know, the story of Philip Green and Arcadia really is a massive cautionary tale. And it leaves you wondering, as technology and culture just keep shifting at lightning speed, which one of today's titans who seems totally untouchable right now is going to be next?